I'll call the meeting to order and start with Pledge of Allegiance, if you would, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. I guess we'll start reports. I don't know if any board members have any reporting to do.
Nothing from the policy committee.
Okay. So we'll move right into reports from administration then, please, Pat.
Great, thanks, Pat. So meeting this morning and special meeting, we had our bid opening last week, and the IBI and CNS have been analyzing the bids and are ready to present those this morning for board approval. We were, going into this process, we were a little concerned. It was a challenge getting the phase one project approved out of the state ed department. It took some time, and so we were in late May instead of early April that we wanted to be in for these bids. But we were very fortunate that the bids came in with great interest in this phase one project, which includes largely roofing and site work, including playgrounds, quite a bit of electrical and asbestos abatement. And after the bids were open and analyzed, and all of the contractors did confirm their bids, we were in a position where we could not only get our base bid, but all of the alternates that we had put into the bid packages, and with about $2 million less in cost than what we had proposed for phase one, which is around $16.7 million. So we're very pleased with that, very excited about that, ready to get started. We know our hard work is ahead of us now as we get into the actual work, but we are very pleased with the outcome of the bidding process. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ed and to Rob. All
right. Well, Ed, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so as you can see, really, that was a great summary, Pat. And if you take a look at the letter of recommendation from our office, it really kind of shows how we recommend proceeding with all 5 of our prime contracts and with the associated alternates, as Pat said. And again, a lot of these alternates we had in place because we did want to protect that bid. Again, as Pat mentioned, we were later in the season than we had hoped based on an extended SED review. But also, too, and Rob can kind of chime in on this, we were concerned with the pandemic, what that would do with contractors' costs, especially, too, with material costs. The fortunate part about it is there was just so much interest in this project, and a lot of people, a lot of contractors wanted to work with Massena and wanted to be on site. So we got a lot of bids on bid day, and I think that really added for a very competitive nature. Also, too, specifically, our 2 large contracts, which is our roofing contract and our site contract, we had good competition and a couple of really competitive bids going forward. So we were really happy with the results, as Pat said, and fortunately, it's kind of an easy decision since we're in a good position. We are able to recommend awarding all alternates. There's not really decisions to be made. We can go forward with all of it and be well within our budget, as Pat mentioned. Rob, did you want to add about the vetting of the contractors that we did as well?
Absolutely, thank you. Right after the bids came in, of course, we assumed the contractors were immediately going to start reviewing their own bids in relation to the others. And as a follow-up, I called each of the contracts in the morning, except Patrick called the general construction contractor. And I asked them to be very careful and make sure they had not missed anything. We go over a list. And I said, once you're comfortable, send us on your company letterhead a statement that you've reviewed your bid in relation to the others and you're comfortable proceeding. We've got it on record. And they all did, as a matter of fact. There was a couple that left a lot on the table, but they clarified why. And there was good rationale, very legit reasons. So we were very comfortable recommending the award to these contractors. And I might add, almost everybody's local and several live right in the district. So they know that we'll be watching and they know that they're in the neighborhood. So that's a good thing.
That was the other good thing that we found is the low bidders that we're recommending proceeding with. IBI Group and CNS has experience with all of the bidders, so that there's no unknown bidders, from, some distance. As Rob said, many of them are all local. And so both of our offices have done work with all 5 of the primes. So that's another reason that we're very comfortable going forward now.
Gentlemen, I just have a question for clarification.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
The amounts that are that look like deductions in red, are those going to be included now?
No, those we don't have to include.
Okay.
The deduct alternates are alternates that were done to protect the bid. If we were getting close to budget or over budget and we had to remove some scope from the project, that's what our deduct alternates were for. So we actually don't have to proceed with any of those deduct alternates because, as we said,
so
we're well below budget.
Those projects are going forward then?
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
The base bid has the complete playgrounds, basically what we wanted with the playgrounds.
Okay.
But I would like to add one little clarification in that on the site work alternate SC7, that was put on hold for now because that wasn't felt as a top priority. So that would not be in the list of recommended.
And we also felt that there might be more advantageous and economical ways to approach that particular fencing. It's for some fencing. So the administrative committee and the team for the project has decided not to proceed with that alternate at this time.
Just seemed the cost for fencing along the high school route was worth the cost, as Ed is saying, and we could look at some other options rather than spending that money. And we could look at it in phase 2. It wasn't a top priority.
Can I ask for details about the roofing of Nightingale and Madison? Why would we see some red there?
That was to see if we needed to save insulation that was underneath the membrane, the roofing membrane, because from our roof cuts, there might have been some areas that we potentially could do that. And once again, if we were in trouble with money, then we could actually, call out for the contractor to, in order to lower his bid, to save some of that insulation. It's not the preferred method to go forward just because of it adds other problems further down the road. But again, if it was a question of being able to award or not, we wanted to make sure that we were in that position. Fortunately, the roofing numbers came in so aggressive that we don't have to take those 2 alternates, and so we'll have a complete tear off and replacement in those areas, at those 2 buildings.
And I might add, Mr. LeBlanc, Ed and I and Jim Francesconi had a good in-depth conference call with the low bid roofer, Sean Reed of Elmer Davis, and we went over every little detail of the entire roofing contract and satisfied our questions.
Yeah. And actually, you'll see the alternate that we are taking for the roofing. One of the great things was that they gave us a very aggressive pricing on a 30-year warranty for all the new roofing. So that's basically the longest warranty that you can get on the market for our roofs, so our new roofing systems. So that'll be for all the roofings that goes in this summer.
And that was versus 20 years, which was in, right?
Yes, correct.
Yep.
Yeah, added 10 more years of warranty.
It's a different installation too. It's got a lot more detail, a lot double wrapped corners, things like that. So it's, you're getting more than just, I'll come back for 10 more years. You're getting a tighter product.
Another question, is it typical to have 2 bids only on those big projects? 2 of the section, like I think it's electrical construction and general contractor, we only have 2 bids. Is that typical?
Yeah, actually with, for the general contractor, not as much the case, but like for the, I believe it was site construction you're referring to, that I believe there's 2 bids for site.
Yeah.
That is fine. And in fact, many attorneys will say that it's possible to award with 1 bid as long as the 1 bid is within 10% of the architect's and construction manager's estimate. So, you know, 2 bids just make sure that we have a competitive environment, and that's what we would need. For the site construction, I know a lot of people were saying that the amount of work we have, there are not very many contractors that can handle that much work, because there is quite a bit of work that we're doing, even if it is spread out over 2 summers. So that's something that, you know, you would see a lower number than, let's say, the asbestos abatement, where, you know, it's a smaller contract. With the general construction, I think that there were many of the GCs at this point are fairly busy and have already booked up their workloads for the summer. So that's why you're kind of seeing 2 bids. But the nice thing there is, even with the lower number of bids on those contracts, we were still very competitive based on the numbers, you know, in comparison with our budgets and estimates.
Were those RFP posted on the public site, and were they sent to general contractors that we know?
Yes.
Pre-bid, and as the bid came out, we contacted many contractors that we knew that were quality contractors. We call them potential bidders list. That was a pretty extensive list. We got a lot of positive support, so we expected a lot of interest. And it is, as Ed could clarify, definitely on all the builders exchanges and the public bidding list, and a lot of them look at them online these days.
Yeah, they're available on several online sites, but also 4 different public construction sites for bidders to check into. So yeah, we had our bases covered with that respect.
Great, thanks.
Okay. Anything else, Ed or Rob, on the bid awards?
Not if you don't have any other questions.
Yeah.
We're
just very excited and happy that it turned out so well for the district. And as Rob said, excited to get started.
When will we be looking at timelines here? I know we're now breaking this up over 2 years, and we have to make decisions here on which gets done in which season.
So I think there's 2 parts to that question, Pat. The overall timeline is now after this meeting with the board passing the resolution, we would proceed to sending out CNS sends out the notice of award to the contractors, and they get all their startup materials in. And so basically that initiates kind of the construction. It gets their mobilization going, gets submittals going. And then as in our specifications, I believe, Rob, we had the constructions or the contractors on site starting in, was it late June?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's when we would begin to.
Yes, late June still.
Yeah. So the contractors would be mobilizing and arriving on site in late June. As far as the division of the site work and roofing work over the 2 summers, as I said, when those startup materials come in, their startup schedules will come in as well. And so that's when Rob and I will sit down with them and see, we have a division already set up in the documents for them. And we'll confirm if they want to stick to that or if they have an alternative that they want to propose for the district. And if they have an alternative, we'll kind of bring that forward to you guys.
That's going to come quick. And yeah, the priorities are the leak and roofs. You know, we're going to take care of that.
I have a quick question on site work construction. The third vendor there, I think it's Bolin Excavating and Topsoil. He didn't provide a bid. Why? Did you have a relation? Did he send something? Did you talk to him? Did he say why?
Yes, he's out of the Binghamton area, and it was just too far for him to be competitive. He was interested in the project due to the size, but they couldn't staff it.
I actually spoke with him too, and I said, "Geez, you're a ways away." And he said, "Yeah, it was a very attractive project, but as he looked into it, he just couldn't be in good conscience throwing a number in on it."
I have one last quick question as well. So this is going to be taken care of over 2 summers is the plan. If, God forbid, we don't open school in the fall, continue remote learning, the buildings are essentially empty, can any of this be done, during what would be, sort of the normal school year, or is it locked in as a 2-summer project?
As long as the contractors have the manpower, it can finish what they started. We would certainly work with the district and the contractors to keep rolling.
Okay.
They probably can't work with the uncertainty of knowing when the school would start. If we never know if the school is going to start in November, it would be difficult.
Right. Everything right now is still predicated on a normal start around Labor Day. So we're till we hear otherwise from the governor, that's what we're basing everything on.
Okay.
Okay. If no further questions, Pat, I think we can move on to the recommended actions.
Very good. I would, just like to thank Ed and Rob and Patrick for their, their work and their putting this package together, and it came out great. So
Thank you.
Thanks for your efforts. Okay, first item for recommended action is approval of bids for the capital project.
So moved.
Have a second, please.
Second.
Any questions? Any more questions? If not, may I have a show of hands, please, for everyone approving? I can't see everybody, so I assume we're all approving it. Any nays? Okay. And awarding the bids for the capital project.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. I think that's all. Nick, did you have anything to report or any comments today?
Nope.
Okay. Any new business from our members? If not, I don't think we have the opportunity for press or the public to interject, so I think we can ask for an adjournment. Any movement?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for getting on today.
Thank you all.
All right. So all those
Thank
in
you.
favor? Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Pat.
Great start to the project. That's good. Very good.
Yeah, great.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Yep,
You
you too.